Are you looking to take your personal finances to the next level? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not, with your host, Joseph Sangle.
Well, welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. My name is Joseph Sangle, and I'm fired up to help you live a fully funded life. Today, we are bringing you another episode, and it's episode number
193.
193. It's the middle of March. It is the birthday month around here. I have a birthday this month. Megan's already had her birthday this month. Her son has a birthday
in a few days.
Yeah. That's awesome.
17th.
And Megan Hibbard, are you fired up?
I am.
Yeah. And so tell everybody kind of what we're going to talk about today.
Yes. So we're continuing our series that we are doing from time to time called Money Lies. And in this series, we're addressing common lies that we tell ourselves and believe them with all of our heart, yet they are lies. So we don't recognize that we have exchanged the truth for a lie. It can be devastating effects on our money journey and our ability to live a fully funded life. And the lie we're addressing today is we can't afford that.
Right. And so this is really important. This lie is a devastating lie. And so I cannot wait to talk about it. But before we do that, we're going to have a success story. So share a success story.
Yes. All right. Our success story today is from Julie, and she wrote in to share what she learned as she read your book, I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. And this has been a very enlightening process for me and long overdue. She said, I can't believe how much of your book I could totally relate to so far, and it couldn't have come at a better time during income tax season. Whew.
Wow.
My biggest financial win has been budgeting to predetermine where my money is going in advance, rather than my warped concept of budgeting in the past, which kept track of where my money went. My biggest challenge I faced was that for my husband and I to see how important rung 2 was before beginning rung 4. And I think we have come to terms with giving it a try since what we've been doing hasn't been working. That's great. Thank you for sharing this for the financial learning experience we call the FLE that you did, renewing my perspective on budgeting and giving me a kickstart on my journey to financial freedom and living a fully funded life. I am too getting fired up.
That's awesome. And she wrote it in all capitals, getting fired up. So I think this is interesting. So Julie shared lots of things, and I just made a bunch of exclamation points that I wanted to talk about because this podcast is powered by our listener success. And so it says, this has been an enlightening process for me and long overdue. And I think it's very important because I think a lot of people, when they know they need to make a financial change, they sense it before they do it. And a lot of times that sense runs for a while until it has matured and maybe even become unwelcome because it's that endless nagging that I got to do something different. And then there's that light bulb moment. That's the enlightening process. And then she says her biggest financial win has been budgeting to predetermine where the money's going in advance. And she's saying rather than the warped concept that she had in budgeting in the past, which was keeping track of where the money went. Mm-hmm. And I think that's important. Both skills are important. Yeah. What she said is she was documenting or reconciling her bank account, understanding where all of her money went. That is history. You can learn from history. Very important skill. But the new part, which is budgeting, is planning before you actually use it so that as you're documenting history, you're not sitting there saying, well, shouldn't have done that. Wish I hadn't done that, right? There's a lot less of that. Very good. So the biggest challenge she faced was for her husband and her. I think that's really important. The couples working together to see how important rung 2 is before rung 4. Rung 2 is save 1 month's worth of money in an emergency fund. Rung 4 is paying off non-house debts. But she's come to terms with giving it a try since what they've been doing hasn't been working. And you know what? I just know that's going to work because now save money prevents future debt. This is great truth, and that's awesome. And so she says, thanks for sharing the financial learning experience, renewing the perspective on budgeting, giving her kickstart on the journey to financial freedom and living a fully funded life. She is getting fired up. So we say, don't just be getting, just go all the way, be fired up, and watch your life change. Sound good?
Yeah.
Awesome. Now it's time for one of my favorite parts of the podcast. You know what that is. Let's go.
Now it's time to get caught up with our current money events.
The Monday Money Tip Podcast is sponsored by the Fully Funded Life Membership Program. The Fully Funded Life membership program provides all you need to begin winning with money and live a fully funded life. Fully Funded Life includes 4 key components: courses, challenges, coaching, and community. Courses provide financial education. Challenges help you make massive progress in a specific money skill. Coaching is provided by the Fully Funded Life certified coaches through open office hours held multiple times each month. All of the courses, challenges, and coaching results in an outstanding community that help equip, motivate, and encourage you to take your next financial steps toward your fully funded life. Fully Funded Life, courses, challenges, coaching, community. All that's missing is you. Learn more and receive a special offer for Monday Money Tip listeners today at fullyfunded.life/MMT. That's www.fullyfunded.life/MMT. Okay, for today's current money events section, we're talking about inflation. Did you like that?
Yeah.
Inflation. It should go up.
I feel like it should go up more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Inflation. Like that?
Might have
Was that
been
good?
a
A little bit. That echoed down the hallway. I could hear that. Poor folks in the office as we're recording out of the studio. That's awesome. But I'm talking about the $5 fill up at Kentucky Fried Chicken. I have a bone to pick with KFC. So it's now at least $7.50. It is not a $5 fill up. In fact, I've got an image I want to put up here of the $5 fill up.
Did they still call it the $5
No, they
fill
don't
up?
call it. It's now the $7.50 fill up, changing every time I go there.
Doesn't
right?
sound as
that
good.
Now they have to say, wait a minute, we got to see if we can have chicken. Supply chain issues.
Seriously.
And you know, I've got another one I want to show up there. I want to show a Taco Bell menu. I used to work at Taco Bell when I was a teenager. All my friends, we used to go there all the time after church. So finally, we decided we're going to work there too. And so it was one of my 2 jobs I had as a kid outside of the house and working for my dad. But Taco Bell used to have a 59-cent, 79-cent, 99-cent menu. Do you remember this? Mm-hmm. Okay. And so here's the title of an article that I found that says U.S. inflation leaps 5.8% in 2021. Isn't that amazing? Mm. So and it hits a 40-year high. And so this is an article I want to read. A measure of U.S. inflation preferred by the Federal Reserve leaped 5.8% in 2021 after another sharp increase in December, underscoring why the central bank is moving to raise interest rates for the first time in 4 years. Isn't that amazing? Okay, here's another thing. The better-known Consumer Price Index, which measures what consumers are paying, jumped by an even higher 7%. That's the largest move since 1982. A narrower measure of inflation that omits volatile food and energy costs, known as the core PCE, rose by 0.5% in 1 month alone. The increase in the core rate in 2021 totaled 4.9% compared to a mild 1.5% gain in the prior year. That is the highest annual level since 1982. So the Fed views this PCE index, the core rate in particular, as the most accurate measure of U.S. inflation. It's more comprehensive and takes into account when consumers substitute cheaper goods for more expensive ones, among other things. So here's the big picture. High inflation is likely to persist well into 2022 before eventually easing, economists say. Now, how come? Well, there's persistent shortages of labor and supplies that have underpinned the surge in inflation, and those are expected to subside. Government stimulus spending has dried up, and higher interest rates are expected to dampen demand. What's less clear is just how much inflation will slow. It's all from an article from MarketWatch.com. Price increases have spread to a broader range of goods and services, and wages are also rising at the fastest pace in decades. Separate reports showed that labor costs climbed 4% in 2021. After playing down the spike in prices last year using that horrible phrase, transitory, Jay Powell and the Fed have now decided to rush to head off any further big increases. So, with both wage and underlying price inflation spiraling out of control, no wonder the Fed is a lot less confident that this surge will be short-lived, said Paul Ashworth, chief U.S. economist at Capital Economics. And so what I'm saying is this. Inflation is happening. That devalues what your $1 bill can buy. Mm-hmm. That's a problem. Yeah. That's why having money in a savings account earning nothing is one of the worst things you can do. Now, you need to have some there for margin, But if you have 12 or 36 months worth of money sitting in savings, you've got to put it to work in assets, real estate, precious metals, maybe some in Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, definitely in some stocks and mutual funds and your retirement accounts, because those are the things that will keep up with inflation. Basic savings has never and will never stay ahead of inflation. Yep. That's it for today's current money events, crazy loon section.
Yeah. It is crazy when you go places and you notice it like significantly.
Yeah,
like,
on my KFC $5 fill up. Maybe I need to stop doing that.
I have crazy cravings in pregnancy. So like McDonald's has never been a restaurant that I've chosen. It just is not. I didn't grow up eating McDonald's. We were a Burger King family. But like, I like McDonald's now. It's weird.
10-piece nuggets?
Well.
Filet-O-fish?
Chicken was a funky thing with me for a while because of my like a COVID thing. It was bad.
McRib?
Ugh.
Big Mac?
Vomit right here. I like the burgers. Yeah. Those McRibs, they're not. The
McRib is amazing.
Those are not real.
Come on.
But anyways, Jordan and I went the other day and we got McDonald's for the three of for me and him and Logan. And they told us the total and I was like, what?
Yeah.
We're at
Did
McDonald's.
you use the app?
No.
It's even cheaper if you use the app.
Oh, really? How do you do that? You just order on
McDonald's
the app?
app. No, you just give them the number and there's a deal a day.
Oh, see, I don't frequent there enough. I frequent Chick-fil-A enough to know.
Inflation.
Yeah. Anyways. Okay, so today we're going to continue our series that we're offering from time to time called Money Lies. And in this series, we're addressing common lies that we tell ourselves and then believe them with all of our heart, yet they are lies. So if we don't recognize that we have exchanged the truth for a lie, it can be have devastating effects on our money journey and the ability to live a fully funded life. And so the lie we're addressing today is we can't afford that.
Yes, we can't afford that. Have you ever seen that? Like in Napoleon Dynamite? You don't buy the multi-pack, put it back, right? Remember he's buying the chips? It's unbelievable, Uncle Rico. It's great. If you've watched Napoleon Dynamite, comment on YouTube. It's awesome. It's very life-affirming. But anyhow, there's 3 effects of this we can't afford that money lie, and it is a lie. Yep. Tell us what effect number 1 is.
Yep, so number 1 is it blinds us to potential.
It blinds us to what?
Potential.
Potential. And that's really important. And these words are very important. It blinds us to potential. So let's make it personal to our listeners, our watchers on YouTube. It blinds you to potential. If you're saying this lie, we can't afford that, it will blind you to potential. You know, it shuts down, when you say that statement, it shuts down the consideration of how a particular item or a dream can be attained or achieved, because the statement is final. We can't afford that, period. It's over. We can't. If you say we can't, it's over. Yeah. What's the old statement? Whether you say you can or you can't, you're right. That's probably going to be our quote of the day. But whether you say you can or you can't, you're right. It is a potential or potential destroying statement. Yeah. Really, if you think about it, any statement that begins with I can't or we can't, it's limiting. Isn't that crazy?
And I feel like we learn that so young. So like my 2-year-old will say that all the time. I can't do that. Or I can't. Like I'm like, buddy, can you get this? I can't. And I'm like, you literally can. And so like we work through like, okay, let's work on it. Like you can do this. And so like try new things or even like silly things like picking up your toys. I can't do that.
Oh yeah. I have no arms and no legs. So I think it's very interesting. So let's explore that for a brief minute, because Logan saying I can't is a self-affirming statement that says, well, I've told you I can't, so I can't.
It's really...
You should just believe me.
Him and saying it is just, I don't want to do it.
Therefore, so it's an evasive maneuver.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what people say. I can't invest. I don't know how to invest. We can't afford that.
Yeah.
We can't afford to buy a house. Yet hundreds of millions of people have bought houses.
Yeah.
But I can't. Mm-hmm. Why? Because you said you can't.
Yeah.
Because you really can. Do you have to make different decisions to do that? Yes. So very important. So it's a lie. Mm-hmm. Okay? We can't afford that. What's the second effect?
Yep. Number 2 is it seems easy.
Yeah. It's easy to say, for Logan to say, I can't clean that up. It's easy to say it.
Yeah.
And if somebody accepts it, come on, it's awesome. It ends all conversation and mom cleans up or dad cleans up.
He said that sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you will not do it.
So it's easy to just say it because it ends all conversation about what is viewed as a negative financial challenge. It's done. It's over. There's nothing further to say. We can't afford that. The end. And parents say it a lot to their kids.
Yeah.
And that makes them not have to justify anything to them. It's just, we can't afford that. Shut up. We're not going to talk about it anymore. So it's a final statement. It seems easy to say that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Effect number 3.
Effect number 3 is it's catching.
Ooh, it is catching. So what is taught will be caught. Your kids will catch it. Your coworkers will catch it. Your friends will catch it. Your classmates will catch it. And a lie repeated often enough becomes an accepted truth, even though it is a lie. It's a lie. We can't afford that. And I, Joe Sangle, have banned the use of this phrase from our business. We do not say we cannot afford that.
Yeah.
I mean, our CFO may want to say that, but I ban the use of it. I ban the use of this phrase from my household, and I will not allow it to be stated in my presence without correcting it. And here's the phrase that I require to be used instead. Instead of allowing someone to flatly state a lie that we can't afford that, we instead turn a financial challenge into a question. Now, before I share the question, I want you to know that if you get this, if you get it, it will change your entire financial outlook. It will change your approach to seemingly impossible financial challenges. It will actually change the attitude and the stance of those in your sphere of influence. Are you ready for the question?
I'm ready.
Are you ready? Here it is. Instead of, we can't afford that, it is,
how can we afford that?
whoo, how can we afford that? This simple switch and phrase changes everything. Because there are 3 effects of we can't afford that. We just shared them. But there's also 3 effects of the how can we afford that, what I call the lie destroyer. What are the 3 effects? Effect number 1 is?
Yep. It opens us up to potential.
So it's the opposite. Effect number 1 of the lie is it closes us down from potential. But this one is it opens us up. We can't afford that. It just shuts down the conversation. It prevents any consideration of options, of alternative ways to approach the challenge. But the question of how, well, now that opens us up to possibility, to the potential that there just might be more than one way to skin a cat, which, by the way, is a really alarming statement.
It really
I don't understand
is.
why. I've never skinned a cat.
Why would you skin a cat?
I'm not sure. It seems weird, so we'll move on.
Yeah.
Okay?
Effect number 2. It seems more challenging.
Oh, yes. Saying we can't just shuts down conversation. But asking how, well, it requires energy and thought and seeking out of alternatives, innovation, alternatives you may not even know exist at the moment. It's one of the effects of saying how instead of we can't. And it's a wonderful thing because it opens us up for learning, and I love learning. Like just yesterday, I learned that the sun rotates on an axis. Did you know that?
Yes.
I did not know that. The sun rotates.
Yeah.
Like the earth rotates on its axis every 24 hours. Did you know the sun rotates?
I think everything's rotating.
Did you know the sun is spinning and that because it's not a solid, that like the poles spin faster than the middle?
I don't know.
That's really crazy to me.
And I think the tilt that it has is like the perfect tilt for keeping our planet.
It's the perfect tilt.
Not frying our planet and not freezing our planet.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And I love learning that.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm ever going to use that in my lifetime, but I
did.
love that I know it. I learned something new. And that is what happens when you say, how can we afford that?
Yeah.
You learn new things financially. That's why you're listening to this podcast. It's why you read books. This is why you explore things, why you have financial coaches and mentors. So effect number 3 of the how can we afford that lie destroyer is?
It is catching.
Oh, so as we said, with the lie, we can't afford that. It's catching. What is taught is caught. This also gets caught. So however you choose to approach your most challenging financial situations, it will be caught whether or not it is intentionally taught. So let's give some examples of this. I think it's helpful to have examples. So we're going to throw up a picture. Do you see this picture? It's a nice new car. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe you're facing the need to replace a vehicle and you don't have any money. Seems like an issue.
It does seem like a problem.
It is easy to say, what?
We can't afford that.
We can't. But what if you ask,
how
can we afford that? Instead, could you share the vehicle with someone else? Could you buy or sell stuff and generate the cash to purchase it? We have a friend of ours who did that. Mm-hmm. I mean, he knows how to buy and sell a bunch of vehicles. He buys and sells 5 or 6 vehicles, T-Rex, and he has a vehicle, and it's paid for. Mm-hmm. Could you trade? Could you use Turo.com, Turo.com, and lend your car out and let someone else pay all of your payments? It's like Airbnb for cars.
I didn't know they had that.
It's unbelievable. I have friends who do it all the time. Huh. And think about how amazing that is. I just rattled off 4 or 5 alternatives on ways to get a car if you don't have money right now that you will not consider if you just say, we can't afford that.
Yeah.
But if you say, how? Well, then it opens up. Here's another example. Now, we're going to show this, and we may need to just pause for a few moments just because it's so glorious. Look at this picture. Oh, it is a John Deere tractor. Look, isn't it wonderful?
Yep, we've paused long enough.
Oh, it's great. John Deere green and yellow. I never knew it to be so beautiful. But, I wanted a tractor. I grew up on a farm. We had all types of tractors, but the Johnnies, they ran the best.
The Johnnies.
They ran. Some of the others did not run very good until you sprayed ether down the muffler. And I don't know if you've ever done special thing like that into the air intake. I don't know if you've ever done that. Ether helps.
Sound like what you
it's amazing.
Want to do,
helps it fire off, but it helps it get fired up, literally. But you didn't have to do that with the Johnnies. They just fire up. And I wanted this tractor, but I was living in a subdivision, so I could say, I can't afford that. But when I said, how can I afford a tractor? Well, it opened up some possibilities. Well, I could buy a farm. Then I would need a tractor and use income from the farm to potentially pay for it.
There you go.
Or I could start a business, or I could buy a business, and those businesses could produce income that buy a tractor. Do you see it? Mm-hmm. It opens up the door for possibilities. And you may think all those are ridiculous, but I did all those. Right? And because I was asking, how can I afford that? And by the way, I do want to say this, and then I'll open it up for you to answer any questions or say some stuff that you want to share. But it is okay to answer the question, how can we afford that? And list 4 or 5 different ways that you could afford it, and then choose not to pursue any of those options. It can still be financially savvy and appropriate to say, I explored the options, I did some learning, none of those make sense for us right now, so we choose not to afford it right now. Yeah. Does that make sense? That then you have at least allowed yourself to explore opportunities and alternatives, but yet still make a decision that says it doesn't make sense to do that right now. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to share that. It's very important.
Yeah, I think as we were talking about it in the beginning, that's one of the things that popped in my head of like, I know a lot of times like kids will ask parents for things and it just doesn't make financial sense for your family right now. Maybe it's going on a cruise or going to Disney World or going, to whatever it is that your kids want to do. And you're just not at a position right now where it makes financial sense. But instead of saying, well, we can't afford that, we're not going to do it. Still having the conversation of like, okay, well, how could we do that? Talking through the options with your kids and including them in it. And then saying, all right, well, let's make a plan to put it in place for 2 years or 3 years or 5 years down the road where we're able to do that. If it's something, that your family really wants to do. But not feeling like you have to do everything that is coming up, right. You don't have to do all the things.
And I think it's important that you just shared that is there's few things as gratifying as instead of saying we can't afford that, saying how, and coming up with a 3, 4, or 5 year plan to get there and then achieving it.
Yeah.
Because it's that delayed gratification and the fact that you built a plan and that you worked the plan and then it came to fruition.
Yeah.
And I've seen so many people do that for some massive trip to like Disney. I've seen it with people on buying their first house. I've seen it with people who finally started the business, or they bought an existing business. And so I just encourage everyone today to not say this week, set it as a rule this week, and then ideally make it a rule in your household forever. Instead of saying, we can't, instead say how. I think it will change your entire perspective of money and money decisions. Tell everybody what our quote is for today.
Yep. So our quote is from Henry Ford, and it says, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right.
That's right. So Henry Ford, the great founder of Ford Motor Company, the Model T, and bringing mass transportation to us all, and the 5-day work week also brought that to us. He speaks the truth when he says, whether you think you can or think you can't, you are right. Tell everybody what we're going to talk about next week.
Yep. So we're continuing our Money Lies series, and we're going to talk about My Dream is Too Big.
So that'll be 3 episodes in a row on Money Lies. And so we're trying that series. Some of these are in a row. Some are scattered throughout the year. We'd love to hear from you on what you like best. Do you like them scattered around or all in a row? You can comment on YouTube, or you can share it with us on social media. And while you're at that, if you like today's episode, help us get this podcast to other people who can benefit. If you're watching on YouTube, click the thumbs up button, leave a comment. That helps YouTube say people like this, and they will share it with more people. You can also leave a review. Those ratings and reviews help us make the podcast better and help others discover it. If you've implemented one of our tips, share your success story with us. Our podcast is powered by your success. We'd love for you to email it to us at info@iwb9.com. That is info@iwbnin.com, or you can share it with us on any of our social media platforms. As we're wrapping this up today, I want you to just really be conscious of whether or not you're saying we can't or how. If you're saying we can't, put an end to that lie and open up your life to possibilities of a truly fully funded life with the magic word, how.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review and subscribe. And for more great content and to stay up to date, visit iwbnin.com. We'll catch you next time.